I am honored to have as our special guest on the program today to discuss some of the opportunities seniors have to make a difference, my dad, Les Markham. Dad, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Well, I want to just begin by honoring you. Thank you for the investment you've made in my life. Again, I wouldn't be here without you, obviously, but also you've invested in my ministry, who I am, and you're on my team now. You help serve seniors in our church, and so thank you so much for doing that, Dad. Thanks just for being you.
Well, thank you for being you.
So maybe let's discuss some of the challenges that seniors are facing in our country today and maybe in our churches. What are some of those?
Well, I'm sure everybody has challenges, but some might be unique to seniors. I think, for one thing, the financial challenges face seniors because many of them are on fixed incomes, and so inflation is kind of killing them.
Right.
And then there's health issues. Old age is not a disease, but it brings some diseases with it. And as we weaken physically, this becomes an increasing challenge. And some seniors are concerned about how they're going to end their days, whether they will end well physically or not. And then technology is another challenge we face. The carrier pigeon seems to be outdated. The website isn't up to date, and they tell me that we're having a challenge to keep up to this technology. I think, too, some seniors are realizing that the clock is ticking and they don't have that much time left, and they're wondering if they're going to accomplish everything that they had hoped for in life. And then we're a little bit concerned about the world that we're leaving behind for our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot to think about. And I wonder, this is just me thinking out loud, you know, a lot of seniors, a lot of us are actually living longer now.
Yeah.
And so maybe some feel like they're not really prepared for living as long as we are. And you talk about fixed incomes and some of those challenges. So fear, do you think a lot of seniors are maybe facing some fears?
I think they do. There's a lot of anxiety and concern about the future, about their future, and about the future in general.
Yeah, and so what do you think? How do you think that's translating into the church? So obviously, a lot of our churches have wonderful, beautiful seniors in them. What are some of the challenges maybe they face in that context?
Well, I think the changes in church life affects them. The new music, the different styles. Sometimes they have a little bit of a difficult time with that. But I think they want to be included. And sometimes I think they feel like maybe they're left out a little bit, put a little bit on the shelf. Our culture has a very strong focus on youth, which is great, but sometimes the seniors feel like maybe they don't count the way they would like to.
Right, so let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, so you and I work together in the church world, and you help serve our seniors in our context. So what are some ways that you think the church can actually overcome some of those challenges?
Well, interestingly, a number of seniors say that they're lonely. So I think socially, the church has a challenge to minister to that need. A lot of seniors have wonderful families, but some don't. And I think the church can be that family for them. And then there's practical issues like housing, physical care, transportation, some of those needs. And then there's still people, and they still have spiritual needs. So they still need spiritual nourishment and spiritual encouragement, just like everyone.
Right, and so what are some of the things you're seeing? You serve in that area, obviously. What are some of the things that you're seeing that are really being helpful and making a difference in that area?
Well, I think we try to provide activities for seniors, and we try to reach out to them. It's interesting because seniors are nervous about talking to young people, and young people are nervous about talking to seniors.
True.
But I think if we just talk to each other, that would be very helpful.
Right. And so we have these opportunities and we have these challenges. So how can we ensure that they do feel valued? Because you mentioned that, and it's true. A lot of them feel like, well, they don't consider me in the music. They don't consider me in the programming. They don't consider me in these. So what are some ways that we can make sure they still are actively involved in the life of the church?
Well, I think ask them to be involved and to participate. They like to be included, and they like to feel like they're a part of what God is still doing. And they, too, have a lot to contribute to the church. I mean, they have more time sometimes than others. They can pray. They have finances. They can invest in the kingdom of God. They can invest in eternity. They can volunteer. My wife is a great-grandmother now, since you're a grandfather, but she volunteers in the nursery. So there's a lot of maybe what could be considered menial tasks, but yet they're significant and important if there's a place for seniors to contribute.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a really hard question. And the question is, maybe there are some seniors watching and they want to get involved, but they're afraid to get involved. But also maybe they're fighting the urge to be maybe negative, right? So they don't want to come across this way, but they do. They of the worship or whatever. They long for the church the way it used to be, and they're having a hard time embracing the new. How would you maybe encourage first them? How can they make that bridge, that leap? And then maybe some of the younger leaders watching to go, okay, but hear what they're saying. Like, what would you say to that specific instance?
Well, I would say to young people and middle-aged people, talk to the seniors and ask them questions. A lot of them have very interesting stories to tell. They have a lot of experience behind them, and some of them have wisdom that they have learned through the years. So ask them questions and talk to them. They'd be happy to contribute. But if I had a word of encouragement for seniors, I would say, keep exercising your faith muscle. Don't become weary in well-doing. There is still a place for you. Stay sweet and be thankful. Count your blessings every day. And remember, you're never too old to serve in the kingdom of God.
Yeah, I love that. And I love what you've decided to do to help some of them. So we really champion groups. And of course, in groups, you can express unique demographic preferences. So you have a group that does hymn sing, and we have a group that counts the offering every week. So we have groups actively involved. And do you see that as a real positive thing that churches could just easily employ?
I think it would benefit both the church and the seniors.
Right.
Because there is a contribution that they can make.
Absolutely.
And I do love the fact that our church is very intergenerational, because we need the youth, the activity, the energy, the action, but we do benefit from the seniors as well.
Yeah, I love that, because we call our seniors builders, because it's on their shoulders that actually the church we have today was built upon. So really quick, one last thought. One word of encouragement to seniors who are watching right now.
Don't give up, don't quit. Psalm 92 says, the righteous will flourish like a palm tree, and even in old age, they will be productive and fruitful. And I kind of like Psalm 72 that says, even when I'm old and gray, I don't know why the reference to the gray hair, but even when I'm old and gray, oh God, don't forsake me until I pass on your strength and power to the next generation.
Well, Dad, you are living that. I honor you for that. Thank you so much for being here today. It's been really helpful.